This action from round one of the Bridgestone production cars, proudly brought to you by Audi.
The 2014 Bridgestone Production Car Championship resumes, and we're out at Pretoria West at the arena of motorsport, Zwartkops. An exciting time ahead, and we're looking forward. All the big manufacturers are back for another round, another go, and defending championships. Well, we'll have to see what takes place.
Qualifying is the first job of the weekend, and in the Class A's, Gavin Cronje steps out of the Mini into the big BMW and onto row number 2. Second was the first of the Sasol Audis, and then Henny Groenewald takes pole position to bang it on the front row, first time out.
Big names at the top, but reigning champion Michael Stephen will have his work cut out, having a really rough time in qualifying.
Another man battling in qualifying, Johan Free down in 5th, and Simon Moss out of the Polo into the big Audi.
You must be very excited of the new challenge.
Yeah, for me, I started my saloon car racing career in an Audi, and certainly to be back behind the Quattro drive car is absolutely amazing. The car is so well engineered by the team, and really excited to get it started and to get the Audi Sasol Racing team on pole position for the start. We're happy, and hopefully we can try and keep it there during the day.
Gennaro Bonafide, a brand new season, must be excited.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season. The guys at the Audi Sasol Racing team have done a great job. A lot of hard work over the off-season, preparing the two cars that are, obviously in top form. So I'm very happy. Look, myself and Henny were very close in qualifying, 0.05 of a second. It's very close. So I'm happy.
Qualifying for the TEC's Lee Thompson, a Zwartkops specialist, battling and only getting 3rd place in the qualies. Van Rooyen, though, was very strong in the Chevy, taking 2nd place. But it's the new livery and the new colours of Graham Nathan in VW Motorsport South Africa colours taking pole.
Reigning champion Nathan finds himself on pole. Van Rooyen, Thompson, Charles Smallberger. But the interesting story is the Ford's excessive boosting finds them at the back of the grid. Welcome back, Graham, first of all.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be back. Times were quite nerve-wracking at the end of last year and actually beginning of this year, but thanks very much to being bailed out by Volkswagen Motorsport, Mike Rowe, Volkswagen South Africa, and the family for presenting me with a genuine parts VW Golf 6 GTI. So I hope I'm going to do them proud, and I'm going to try really hard.
I spoke to your technical staff in the pits earlier on, and they're also very encouraged by what's been going on with the car. A bit different from what happened last year.
Yes, definitely. They've got 2 Audis on the front row and the Chev on the front row as well, so it's very encouraging for the team. And once again, we put in the hard work, and hopefully it pays off till the end of the day.
Mixing it with the big boys must be quite intimidating.
No, definitely, Steve. We'll see what we can do this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. In the big game now.
For our TV viewers, just give us a little bit of a brief background to where you come from.
I started racing go-karts in 1999, and then I moved up through the various categories there into VW Challenge in 2009, and from there Polo Cup. I did 2 seasons in Polo Cup, and now here we are in Production Cars 2014.
So the new grid, a new season, new colours and sponsors, and a couple of guys stepping out of different categories up into the big show.
It's going to be an outstanding race for 2014, but you don't win the championship in the first race, Matt.
No, and historically this has been a very, very good track for the BMWs, but they have really been smoked. Gavin Cronje has done a great job stepping out of the front-wheel drive Mini Cooper into the rear-wheel drive BMW, but look at Simon Moss. He is going to be very aggressive and a man to watch out for. Back into the start of the Class T's, no surprise to see the Minis running strong here.
Also, raising eyebrows is the lack of sponsorship on the BMWs. Have you seen that?
Yeah, well, you can't miss it. I mean, plain white car racing, we talk about it at the beginning of the season. It happens over almost all of the categories, but it's the first time in a very long time that I've seen it happening at the high end of the Class A's of Bridgestone production cars.
And what a team this is going to be for Audi. Henny Groenewald teaming up with Gennaro Bonafide, veteran and almost rookie.
Yeah, and Gennaro has really cut his teeth in that car. He knows exactly how to get it set up, and the master, Henny Groenewald, will be extremely strong. Look at this. Here comes Thompson sweeping around the outside. It's going to be something to watch out for. And the Fords also seem to pick up the pace in lap 1.
Yeah, both those Midis and also the Chevrolet Cruze from Michael van Rooyen have had issues here at this racetrack before. Hopefully, holding thumbs, is going to be a good day for both.
Have you seen Graham Nathan, by the way, who leads things out, and there's a problem on the Ford? That's Gary Fomato's Ford. He looked like he was really on the pace, and he had made some passes early in the race, but there's a crucial problem happening in the Ford, and that is going to be limping around and parking. That's going to leave just Duminy to pick up the pieces, but he has been battling for form and pace thus far at round number 1, and certainly the penalty shoving him all the way to the back of the pack has left him fighting it out with Cooper and the new kid, Ryan Rode.
Out of turn 3, and it's one of the fastest parts of the racetrack, and of course the 2 Audis still out there. Oh, look at this, a nice little move, and Stevens fighting back against Ferrari in a big way.
Well, Ferrari has really been struggling for form, but we know that the BMWs have incredible top-end power, and up the hill is often where they show it. But it's been on the handling that they've really battled to throw in a good lap. Ferrari trying to move around the outside, and that's Cronier, who out-qualified him, who has been shoved not 1, but 2 places back. So Michael Steven is running away, but it looks like he's starting to hold back a little bit because Ferrari is definitely piling on the pace now.
10 laps, so we consider this to be a sprint race. We've got a longer one coming up a little bit later on, and will weather conditions prevail, and will they hamper some of the cars out there?
Well, look at it. It looks like we're seeing a Sasol Audi racing team advert out front because they are banging in qualifier lap after qualifier lap back in the Class T's, and Cooper is looking strong this year.
Well, speaking about Cooper, it's very disconcerting for us because we're used to seeing Graham Nathan in that bright orange GTI, and now we've got Ryan Cooper in a semi-orange vehicle. So let's not confuse those two. The only difference is Nathan's out front.
Yeah, on board with Charles Smallberger, the man stepping out of Polos. He had a rough season last year, stepping up into the Golf GTI this time around. And you saw while we were on board, we swept past and saw Formato parked on the sideline. Ferrari is still sticking to the outside line. I think he's been watching way too much NASCAR, trying to sweep the fast moves around the outside, but cannot make the move on third.
Out of 5 and into 6, and of course, as we're seeing right now, the 2 Audis, and this is pretty much the gap that they had in qualifying.
Yeah, they spoke about it. They've been separated by something like 1,000th of a second the whole way through the weekend. So it's not the fact that Gennaro can't pass, and it's not the fact that Henny is holding him up. That is just the gap. On board with Cooper, showing how greasy it is out there. And you can see he's really battling the front end. Looks like it's forcing out a little bit as they sweep through turn number 1.
He has done particularly well coming from a motorcycle background, and last year was his blood into production cars and essentially a motorcycle rider. But he is handling that Golf, as you say, a little twitchy, but he's done a sterling job.
Yeah, he is running incredible pace, and look at that. He's just got good form coming into the season. The car, I thought it sounded a little bit rough there, and certainly wasn't making the power down the straight that he wanted to, and Duminy has just slid by.
Duminy flying the flag for Ford at the moment, and of course they are buoyant because they've done okay, and they'll be looking for more, but it's only round 1. Now we see Sean Duminy, and under pressure from, in this shot, it is Ryan Cooper in that GTI Golf.
Yeah, he's got a really good setup on the right-hand machine, and as far as the manufacturers go, we've got 4 of the key players out there. Not too many shots out there of the Chevy Cruze, but it is running good in the hands of Marco van Rooyen. Now we're finally seeing a little bit of daylight showing between the top 2 front runners in the Class A's. Henny Groenewald has pulled out almost half a second by this stage out of his teammate Gennaro Bonafide.
So, will it be big points for the blooding of the new Sasol livery? Of course, Henny Groenewald in charge right now, Gennaro Bonafide in second, Johan Free in that BMW. So weird not to see all the big brand sponsorship on that car. On board right now in the other BMW, Gavin Cronier is chasing down Michael Steven.
Yeah, you talk about weird. For me, this is the weirdest thing I've seen. Michael Steven, the reigning champion, the man who has almost no faults on any tracks around the racing that we do in South Africa, and he is battling to hang on to 4th place right now.
His partner, of course, in crime is none other than the Junior Moss, and replacing Chop Sapuka in this series as well. We will see, probably, because we know Terry Moss, the DNA of a pure-blooded motor racer. Will his son have that same DNA?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the stories to watch out for. Certainly on the coastal circuits, Simon Moss will be coming through, but right now he has no answer, and he's in the background. Chop Sapuka's previous car, easily recognizable by the bright red wing mirrors.
So on board with Gavin Cronier, a big step up, as you mentioned earlier on, Matt, from the minis, and that front-wheel drive, and, we got rear-wheel drive, and I think he's doing a sterling job at the moment. He will find his feet.
Yeah, the BMW seem to have come on as the little bit more temperature has come into the tracks. You can see that from Ferrari's pace. He pushed on very hard, but there, coming out of turn number 3, the back end of the BMW is wagging ever so slightly, so Gavin Cronier still trying to figure out the big beast, of course, that is the BMW.
And Michael Steven must be scratching his head right now, going, where do we go from here, and why is this BMW all over me at the moment? I mean, he is a 3-time rating champion, defending it for the 4th, and that Audi right now, well, they need to get more out of it.
Yeah, Michael Steven, of course, he's put a lot of work into these cars. He knows them head to toe. Whoa! As we see Cronier just light up the back end of the BMW, and that's Simon Moss sweeping through. We were talking about the prep on the NGen Audis. almost untouchable through the years. But of course, the Sasol Audis now prepped by Vic Maharaj. He knows what's happening, and he's got a lot of time he puts into those cars, and they've just come out of the season from off-season testing, come into round number 1. Perfect.
Well, he's a genius, and I totally agree with you, and he's done a lot for the teams, but he's also helped with their driving, getting the most out of the car, not over-driving these cars, but just knowing how to drive them.
Look what is happening in the Class Ts as well. This is the battle for second place on the road. We just saw Graham Nathan go through shot. The Chevy Cruze of Michael Van Rooyen, rock solid all the way through in second, and then a bit of team formation flying with Thompson, and now Ryan Rode running in the 4th spot.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson's got to be the danger and one to look for, because he had a really good season. They had a little bit of difficulties with the cars, but, really, essentially, they were really strong.
And look how strong the right foot is on Johan Fourie, lighting up the back end of the BMW. He has closed up, hand over fist on the back wheel of Gennaro Bonafide, trying to fight for that second place, but no one is going to get to Henny Groenewald. And on his return to production car racing, Henny takes the flag.
Well done to Gennaro Bonafide and Johan Fourie flying the flag for BMW. Not a bad result, and it gets underway for round 1 of the Bridgestone Production Car Championship. Nathan is going to pick this up, but a good result for Van Rooyen.
Yeah, in the sprint race, very solid times the whole way through. Thompson, I expected him to start coming through, but obviously the setup on the Williams Hunt Chevy Cruze, faultless, and he's come in with a really strong package. But the reigning champion is going to tick one off the top of the list very early on in the season, taking race number 1 win at round number 1 of the Super Series. Bridgestone Production Cars Class T goes to Nathan.
So first blood to the Audi Sasol racing team. Groenewald, Bonafide and Stephen, and Fourie was penalised, excessive boost.
Henny Groenewald, you look delighted. Probably, maybe, possibly, could I say, the best production car you've ever driven?
Certainly, it's first of all to get the front row for the Audi Sasol racing team between me and Gennaro yesterday. It was amazing, and to start off now with a 1-2, it's exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, certainly just the best production car I've driven over the years, and those first few laps the car was really so stable and balanced, and a joy to drive. So I'm looking forward to the next race, and congratulations to Gennaro. He kept it tight there, keeping me honest all the way to the end.
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever. I mean, both of you looked in control.
Yeah, I know it was a great performance from, I think, both of us. I said to Henny in the beginning, I said, just go, get away from the pack, and then we can sort it out, the end of the race, and just maintain the gap. And that's what we did. We managed to stay 1-2 out of the second corner, which left the other guys fighting behind us, and we got a nice gap. And then from then on, it was just managing the temperatures and the placing. So I'm very happy, and congrats to Henny, first win in Audi colours with Sasol Racing. So it's a formidable team, I think.
In the first race of the 2014 season in the Class Ts, Graham Nathan shows good for his VW SA colours ahead of Van Rooyen. Thompson. Cooper ran good in 4th place ahead of Charles Smallberger. Ryan Rode gets his 6th place ahead of Formato and Dumini. The Fords battling.
You must be delighted.
I'm over the moon. Great start to the way we want to do it. Great season. All credit though to my team, Dean, Jeffrey, and Chris. Great job, Peter. Everybody that's backed me, Mike Rowe, and I must just say thanks to all the guys who drive Volkswagens in this country, because without this brand, we just wouldn't be able to go out there, do what we do, put it on the front, and give everybody a hell of a hard time.
This action from round 1 of the Bridgestone Production Cars, proudly brought to you by Audi. And into the feature race, race number 2. Double points, 17 laps, and extremely moist conditions. It's going to be a tricky one.
So a reverse grid based on the championship points so far. Interesting as they're going to the first corner, and already a tap.
Yeah, we saw this coming. I thought it was going to be aggressive in the early stages, and Simon Moss got all kinds of loose. In the Class T, Charles Moore losing the Golf and going and pointing into the inside there. That's got to be a bad situation, and that looks like a Henny Groenewald off on the grass as well. So all kinds of drama going into turns 1 and coming out of turns 2. Smallberger is on his roof, and Groenewald is way back, and I can see this is going to be a safety car, if not a red flag situation.
Interesting to note. Did you notice how difficult he found it trying to turn that steering wheel?
Well, look at this. This is on board with Cooper. Cooper just trying to stay out of harm's way, and you could see that Smallberger looked like he'd caught it, and then he went firing into the inside. Here's the onboard, just could not catch it, lets go of the wheel at one point, tries to hold on, and he's just fired to the inside. A very similar crash to his dad from a few years back down at Cape Town.
So, time delays right now, and the interesting thing will be, will they deduct a lap? I doubt that. They'll probably have a restart, and the race will continue 17 laps.
Yeah, 17 laps, full restart, and lucky for Simon Moss, he gets another bite of the apple off the front row, but you'll notice that Cronje not there.
So interesting. Moss leading out over his stablemate, Michael Stephen. This is going to be... and look at these treacherous conditions right now. It's going to be really difficult.
It is going to be very hard. The Rainmeister we saw last year, it's going to be all about Gennaro Bonafide. He's extremely strong in these conditions. As yet, in this car, I haven't seen the form of Henny Groenewald, so I'm not going to take anything away from him. He is just amazing at every single format of racing. I think this is going to turn out to be an onslaught. 17 laps. It's going to be a true battle between the two Rainmasters out there in the Class A's, Gennaro Bonafide and Michael Stephen.
Yeah, we can't say enough about Bonafide in the rain, but the other master out there, Graham Nathan, that man can drive, and I'll tell you what, if that car does go sideways, he's invariably able to correct it.
I was walking through the pits, and the man that was out there doing the rain dance was Lee Thompson. Thompson loves these conditions, and in particular loves these conditions in his Mini. He seems to have that sweet spot set up.
So Van Rooyen chasing him down at the moment. This is getting really muddled in the mid-pack.
Yeah, that's Fourie. Fourie has really been battling. We know that the BMWs do find it hard to get the traction down on the back end because there's so much power going through those two rear wheels, and he has fallen back into the clutches of the Class T's. Looks like he's going to be pulling off the track.
Little bump there, almost looked like it from Van Rooyen, but look at the Fords. They're back in motion at the moment, Dumity and Formato. And Formato, well, he was feeling pretty confident that the car could do something today.
Oh, look at that. These guys are just
on the right,
getting off the track there. That was Moss once again outbraking himself into turn number 1. That means everyone has to sweep around the outside. And confirmation, by the way, that was Fourie limping off the track into pit lane. So there are no BMWs racing right now.
So Bonafide chasing down the other Audi S4 supercharged car, and the condition, look at them, they're having to fight their steering wheel. Visibility will be a problem. Some cars will fog up, and then that is going to cause problems.
Quattro system running 1, 2, 3, 4. We always see this in the rain, but the man that is desperate to get through is the man that runs in the 3 spot right now. Gennaro Bonafide, so desperate to get out there and get through on Moss.
You said Moss was out braking himself, and he'll come to terms with that because, I mean, this is a big car with lots of power.
Yeah, I think he's just battling. He's missing his braking markers there. Pushed himself wide at the top of the shelf before the turnaround. This is all just holding back the Sasol Audis, and you can see the gap is growing.
Michael Stephen continues his surge and defending his championship. He's made history so far, Matt.
Yeah, it is going to be a very interesting start to the season, and it might be another case of Henny Groenewald getting to the top of the pile by the end of the year. But the rest of the guys will wake up. There are tracks where particular drivers and certainly particular cars come to the fore. There is Moss once again outbraking himself, and that just opens up the hole, and that was a pass that didn't have to be made. Both of the Sasol Audis going through, and Moss just pushing the front end way too hard, way too late on the brakes for the conditions, and loses 2 positions very quickly.
So we can't really tell the difference as they come down the parts of the racetrack between. Only the numbers are able to identify these cars, and Bonafide is out in front over his stablemate Groenewald. But in the meantime, Michael Stephen is on a charge.
Yeah, and Michael Stephen needed this as well because he really battled for pace in the first race, and now he's got a chance of a double score in the feature length race.
So far, Michael van Rooyen's looking okay, and they will be delighted. So far, with round 1, they're on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think the way that the Chevy Cruze sits on the track as well, it's very stable, very comfortable. We know that Lee Thompson himself as a driver loves these race conditions, and look at the shot here. Cooper all over the place, but Cooper's got a really good chance because he had a good finish in race number 1, and if he can just bang in another top 3, he's going to be well up there as we run down to round number 2 in Cape Town.
How did Michael van Rooyen stop that car going into turn number 2? The other interesting point to make mention of, Vic Maharaj has made all the difference again to that team.
Gary Formato, by the way, he is back out there racing, leading this race, and it was a very kind Ford ST owner that actually donated a short shaft to actually get that car back onto the track.
Well, if I was that guy, I would have said, look, here's the car, use what you want, I'll deliver me a new one tomorrow.
Oh man, onboard shot there, the Chevy Cruze, real close to Cooper. Cooper looked like he lost the back end. I think Michael van Rooyen backed out of that one, and that's the Chevy Cruze spinning, and that's Nathan. Nathan, going into avoiding action, goes onto the grass, buries it, and gets the thing back online. And that's not just grass, that's grass and rain and mud and zero traction.
and that's why he's reigning champion, because he drives like he can.
Yeah, that's going to fire him up as well. He came through. He's probably going to be able to close things down on Cooper, who runs in the 3 spot right now. But Formato doing a great job. It looks like Thompson is trying to set up on almost every single corner. I expect to see Thompson show the wheel.
I agree with you 100%, Matt. I cannot see Formato holding off this Mini right now, because we know he loves the conditions, and it's a really good car in the wet.
And just watch where Lee Thompson is able to position his car. He goes and finds grip. He goes absolutely anywhere on the track. These are not standard option race lines, believe you and me. He is just going out there finding traction.
So a little further back, Ryan Cooper still circulating in that GTI, doing an outstanding job. But this is the focus in Class T.
Here
right
we go.
now. Yep, here we go. It is Lee Thompson on the inside. Formato gave him some space, allowed him through, and now leading Class T. But will Formato have a little fight back up the hill?
Yeah, he's definitely going to have a fight back. But Lee Thompson, even though it looked like he ran wide and deep, he still had the momentum going up the hill. So he's able to still cover that line. And this should see Lee Thompson and the first of the Castrol Minis check out off the front now.
Well, this also might suit Formato as well, just being behind.
Yeah, the back end. Sorry, I had to jump in there. The back end of Thompson's car getting all kinds of loose at the top of the hill.
So we're on board right now. Michael van Rooyen in that blue Chevy Cruze and chasing down
Nathan. Nathan gets a drift show. Now, that's not a rear-wheel drive. That's not a V8 or anything. That's a front-wheel drive GTI, and the back end was hanging all over the place, and Nathan brought the thing back once again.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking himself. He hates it when he makes a mistake like that, but these things happen. But right now, Michael van Rooyen is still churning around the laps, looking for a race win. It would be ideal for him and the team.
Looking for Cooper. Cooper's still running up there in 3rd place, and there's around about a 2.5 second gap before these guys can actually join the party. There's our overall race leader in the feature race, Michael Stephen. Great to see the champion bounce back from a real poor result in race number 1.
Well, I would say a familiar picture.
Definitely. I mean, in these conditions, it's good to see him. We saw him the whole way through last year, and he controlled the championship very well. He took the wins when he had to. He took the losses when he could.
Yeah, Nathan playing it smart, saw Stephen come through, gave him a bit of a gap, doesn't want to get tangled up in that mess. He's got his own battle with Class T at the moment.
The good thing is all these guys taking a hit 1 lap back, they won't have to do the full 17, of course.
16 of 17, so not long to go, and will Lee Thompson be able to hold on? Because
I just saw Lee Thompson at the bottom of the hill there. Lee Thompson has gone off at turn number 4. That's Formato coming through to inherit the lead. There's Cooper coming to battle for second. Thompson's got a massive problem. The back end of that Mini is all over the place, and Thompson is in huge trouble. He just lost 2nd place to Cooper.
Well, is it the tyre? We know how good these new Bridgestone tyres are, so I doubt that. And in these wet conditions, you wouldn't get any kind of problems with the tyres, so I have no idea what it is. But it looks like Formato's going to win this.
Yeah, he was definitely settling for 2nd place, but he stayed in it, and it's going to be a very comfortable 1st place. But a surprise of the day for me in the Class T's has been Cooper. Cooper incredibly consistent, and Michael Stephen right there, and it looks like Gennaro Bonafide, even though he bridged the gap, got his way through traffic that slowed down our race leader. Gennaro Bonafide in the first of the Sasol Audis, just coming down the hill there to pass the Ford, is going to have to settle for the 2 spot, but he'll still be happy with that.
Well, I like your point on Ryan Cooper, because this will be his highest finish so far. He's had a 3rd. Oh my word!
That was just a bit of showboating there. Gennaro Bonafide lighting it up, putting some Quattro style on the line to take the 2 spots, and literally at the same time as the flag came out, Formato gets his win ahead of Cooper and the Chevy of Van Rooyen.
Confirmation it is. Michael Stephen, the reigning champion. Gennaro Bonafide, Henny Grunewald, Simon Moss, and Johan Free.
Now, we've said earlier on that he could drive on the wet, and he had to prove that again today. A fantastic 2nd.
No, thanks, Steve. It's, from 5th on the grid to 2nd. Obviously, with the BMs out, it was a bit easier, but the conditions out there were treacherous. This track is a short, little, nimble track, and we were sideways all over the place.
Michael Stephen, our reigning champion, finally gets his mark on the door. Fantastic drive.
Yeah, thanks very much. Race 1 was a bit difficult. We're lacking a bit of power. But yeah, in the rain, that doesn't really count so much. And we managed to just go out there, get into the lead, pull a lead, and then control it.
Best man on the day and taking the overall and leading the points heading down to round number 2. Bonafide on 28 points. 2 points back is Michael Stephen and Grunewald in 3rd.
So let's get confirmation of the Class T results in race number 2. Gary Fimarto, outstanding, a race win for him. Ryan Cooper, his highest finish yet. Michael van Rooyen in the cruise in third and a podium position. Graham Nathan, Lee Thompson, Ryan Rood, and Sean Duminy penalised at the back.
17 laps of the Bridgestone Production Car Championship, and the man that's come really with all the bad news that they had throughout the entire day, did it for fun really, but my goodness, it was slippery out there.
No, it was. Look, it was quite difficult. The conditions were a lot worse than I thought they'd be. But the car, you don't know how to choose the setup for the rain. Is it going to stop? It stopped in previous races, but it was good. Look, the Mini was very quick. Lee was quick in the rain as well, and did a great job. And their cars are very good on the brakes in comparison to ours. But I don't know what happened. He made a mistake twice in the last lap. I don't know if he had an issue with the car. But it was a good race. I mean, you just had to be patient. You could only go as fast as your car would allow you to go. Anything more and you were off the road.
An outstanding second today in Class T. You must be, I don't know, just over the moon.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the results. We had problems this weekend with the car misfiring Friday, the whole day today. So when I saw the rain coming, I was quite pleased that I know that I would need all the power in the car. And everything came together quite fine. So yeah, I'm really happy with the results.
So Graham Nathan, the most consistent driver on the day at round number 1, leads on 24 points. Van Rooyen on 23. Cooper sits in third place on 21. And Fimarto, with an incredible drive in race 2, gets fourth on 20 points. Join us at the next round in Cape Town on the 29th of March.
This Bridgestone Production Car action proudly brought to you by Audi.